Do you know that Hilton Hotel is closed? Do you know that Crown Plaza is closed? Do you know that all these other hotels are struggling? Because we have no international conference facility. Conference facilities are the ones that support our tourism sector, our convention sector, our hotel industry. We not only want to invest or get a strategic investor for KICC, I am also going to get a strategic investor for Bomas of Kenya. We need to build another conference facility in Kenya, in Bomas of Kenya, and we need to build maybe 2-3 hotels in Bomas of Kenya. It is what is going to change the fortunes of our country, especially the space around tourism.
Right.
So let me persuade the people of Kenya, right? KICC is not being sold to anybody. KICC is not being taken anywhere. KICC will remain there. Those who want to take photographs, you can continue taking photographs. But for heaven's sake, allow me to get a strategic investor, and I am not going to do it at night. In fact, many people have been saying maybe we change the law to make it easy for government property to be disposed. That's not true. The reason why the former law was changed is because since 2005, or is it 2009 when it was implemented, we have not privatized a single thing because it was convoluted and it never went anywhere. Let me give you,
Mr. President,
benefits. Allow me, because you know this is a very important thing to me.
Yes,
so this is so when we said we want to commercialize KICC, there are companies, Grace, there are companies like Postbank. Every morning when we open Postbank, we lose 3 million. In the last 5 years, we have lost 1 billion shillings every year. How much? 1 billion shillings every year. Because nobody wants to make a decision about Postbank. I want to make a decision about Postbank. I want to get the employees who are working in Postbank. I want to second them to other institutions. We close down Postbank. We stop losing 1 billion shillings. Every year, and we do something with the fund that is there instead of taking money from the fund and spending it. And you know, we are just being not prudent at all. Let me give you another example. Because you know, this is what I want to do. This is what we are talking about. When we talk about privatization, we are not talking about just sale. We are talking about 4-5 aspects. There are places that will be leased. There are others that you will get strategic investors. There are others that you will get that you will take to the stock exchange. Let me give you another example. Kenya Pipeline Company. Kenya Pipeline Company is a company that is worth 300 billion Kenya shillings. How much?
300 billion.
300 billion. How much money are the people of Kenya getting from Kenya Pipeline? I think it is only once or twice that we have gotten 1 billion a year. Otherwise, we get 200 million, we get 300 million. This company, Kenya Pipeline, should be giving the people of Kenya 30 billion shillings every year.
So is it mismanagement or?
No, it is just strategic thinking that is not there. And that is what I want to do. Okay. It is just strategic thinking.
What's KCC?
I'll come back there. What we need to do is, you know, there are people who still that mentality, mali ya serikali si mali ya mtu. No. Mali ya serikali is our collective property, and it has to be managed well. And I have a responsibility to the people of Kenya that it is managed well, and I intend to manage it well. What have I done? I have changed policy. I brought the policy, because it is in my manifesto. I brought policy to cabinet. We said we need to change what we call government-owned enterprise policy. Ownership policy. As an owner, every shareholder demands money for their shares. We are the shareholders. We demand money from the companies that are owned by government. So what do we need to do, for example, in Kenya Pipeline?
Right.
Kenya Pipeline, there is nothing strategic about Kenya Pipeline. This is just a transporter of fuel. That's all. It's a matatu for fuel. So what we need to do, first I have told them this year, they must give us a dividend of 5 billion this year. And they're going to give it. Because I have told them, you have to stop all these shenanigans. This is public asset. We cannot be taxing Kenyans when there is an asset here that should be giving us
So how do you arrive at that target
of
5 billion?
It is the initial money, but it should actually be 30 billion every year, because any economist will tell you if your asset is this much, 10%, even if you were to, because if we were to sell Kenya Pipeline at 300 billion, we would get 300 billion, put it in a fixed deposit, we earn 30 billion every year. And yet we have money sitting inside there.
Okay.
So let me conclude. Let me conclude by saying,
please.
Let me conclude by saying this. And I'm sorry, I have to explain to the people of Kenya some of the things that are being, misconstrued to mean that we're not being prudent. I brought policy, and I said we are going to make sure that every government asset gives money to the shareholder, the government of Kenya, so that we look for additional revenue, because we cannot borrow. We have pushed Kenya enough on taxes. The only other way to raise money is to sweat our assets. Is to sweat our assets. We must get our assets to pay us dividends. That's why, for example, Kenya Power,